Hey everyone, my name is Angie and you're on my YouTube channel, 60 and a Senior. And on this channel, I talk about bookish things. I do book reviews. I do videos about my most anticipated new book releases. And I also do videos where I choose my TBR for the upcoming month. And that is what I'm going to be doing tonight. We're going to be choosing my September TBR list, and we're going back to the jar of prompts. For May and June, I used that. In July, I did not use my jar prompts because I participated in the Deca TBR-a-thon that was sponsored by Becca at Pango Books and Bujo and Chloe over at Always Booked, and that was a lot of fun. If you are not familiar with that, you need to write it on your calendar for next year so you can join us. But stay tuned, I'm gonna get the jar and we're gonna choose the prompts for my September TBR list. I'll be right back. So before we get started with pulling the prompts, I wanted to let you know that I'm filming this video in my new to me redecorated library / office / music room. So my husband and I live in a 1.5 story house, and in the upstairs of our house we have 2 bedrooms and a bath that is joined by a walkway that has a balcony that overlooks into our open living room. And our kids don't live at home anymore, so no one uses these 2 bedrooms. I had one of them as a guest bedroom and one of them as an office previously. So we started this back in May. We took everything out and we had it repainted and new carpet put down, and I bought 2 new bookshelves. I got them from Wayfair. So my home upstairs, these bedrooms have dormer windows, and you can kind of see that here, right here beside me. So the wall comes from this corner over, and then it goes back for the dormer window, then it comes back up, and then it goes back over. So on the 2 walls that are on each side of the dormer window, I have a bookcase. So that one and this one houses all of my unread TBR books. I even got me a new swivel chair and a new reading lamp, guys. I don't know if you can see that, and an ottoman. I'm sitting on the ottoman. But we're going to be drawing books off of this shelf. I also have a desk, a new, well, the desk is not new. It is an oak desk that belonged to my grandmother. But I also have my keyboard over here. So I play the piano a little bit, very little. So this is kind of my room. And then we're going to have the guest bedroom at the other end of the hallway. But I just wanted to show you guys this. We painted it passive gray, Sherwin-Williams. And then I know you can't see the carpet, but the carpet is like a light beige Berber type carpet with a little bit of a pattern. I don't really have any pictures hung yet, but I'm so excited to be filming this video in my new library. All right, so let's get started. Let's draw the first prompt. Okay, we're gonna give them a shake. Whoa, and a couple fell out. We're going to put those back in. Just don't need to be so happy with that. All right, let's go right hand this time. Only get one. And let's see what it says. A book that won an award. Oh, wow. Okay, stay tuned. Okay, I'm back. It took me a little bit. I have several classics on my list, so I figured that would probably be an easy go-to. A lot of my other ones, without pulling out Goodreads and checking, more of the contemporary fiction, women's fiction, historical fiction, I just looked at some of the classics and dystopian. So I came up with 3 choices. The first one is a historical fiction by Sue Monk Kidd. And Sue Monk Kidd, I've read a couple of her books. She's actually the author of The Secret Life of Bees, which was a great novel, and it also was turned into a movie. This one says on the back that it is the winner of the 2005 Quill Book Award. I think it says there's a sticker on the back. I bought this at a thrift store. I think it says for best historical fiction, but without pulling that sticker off, and I really don't want to do that. It's not tearing easy, but it does say right here that it was the winner of the 2005 Quill Award. So that's a choice. The second one is a dystopian, A Wrinkle in Time by Madeline L'Engle. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. And this one, I read on the back here, this was the winner of the 1963, and it has a little thing here on the front, Newbery Medal, A Wrinkle in Time, from 1963. Let's see when it was published. So I'm sure it's a classic. 1962. So that's a possibility. And I think this is a dystopian. I can't remember if it's a dystopian or just a classic, but I think it's a banned book too. And then the third choice is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. And this I've never read this. This was winner of the Pulitzer Prize. So of these three, I am going to read To Kill a Mockingbird. I really wanted to read this one during fall cozy season anyway, spooky season. They say it's a good one to, I don't know why, but they say it's a good one to read. So that is my first choice, first pick. Okay. Prompt number 2. I'm going to shake them up. I'm going to do left-handed on. I might need to get a bigger jar because I have big hands. Okay, got one. A book with gold lettering on the cover. Okay, stay tuned. Okay, I'm back. I have 2 choices. I did have several that were Book of the Month books that had the titles, but this isn't really gold. I would say this is more yellow. So even though I would have really liked to have read one of those, I'm going to put it back and I'm going to stick to the gold lettering. And my 2 choices are The Stationery Shop. So as you can see, you can probably tell this is gold lettering. This is The Stationery Shop, a novel by Marjan Marjan Kamali. And it says, Roya, a dreamy, idealistic teenager living amid the political upheaval of 1953 Tehran, finds a literary oasis to kindly Mrs. Fakhri's neighborhood stationery shop, stocked with books and pens and bottles of jewel-colored ink. Then Mr. Fakhri, with a keen instinct for a budding romance, introduces her to his other favorite customer, handsome Bahman, who has a burning passion for justice and a love for Rumi's poetry, and Roya loses her heart at once. So actually, it does say down here it's a powerful love story. So that's one option. And the second option is one of the books I just showed you, A Wrinkle in Time. I guess I am meant to read A Wrinkle in Time. So I'm actually going to choose this one versus the 1953 setting of a budding romance. So stay tuned for prompt number 3. Okay, jar prompt number 3. This video is getting long. I need to speed up. Okay, just going to draw just one. A book with a title that starts with a B. A book with a title that starts with a B. Stay tuned. Okay, I'm back. I have 2 choices. The first one is a historical fiction that was gifted to me by a friend that I go to church with. I recently joined a book club that she belongs to back in March, but this is one that they read prior to me joining the book club, and she knew that I was a fan of historical fiction. but it does start with a B, Before We Were Yours. I think this one is, I can't remember what it's about. Okay, Memphis, 1939, 12-year-old Bill Foss and her 4 younger siblings live a magical life aboard their family's Mississippi River shanty boat. But when their father must rush their mother to the hospital one stormy night, Real is left in charge until strangers arrive in force. Wrenched from all that is familiar and thrown into a Tennessee Children's Home Society orphanage, the Foss children are assured that they will soon be returned to their parents, but they quickly realize the dark truth at the mercy of the facility's real-life director, the cruel Georgia Tan. Real fights to keep her sisters and brothers together. And then there's another one that says Aiken, South Carolina, present day. Born into wealth and privilege, Avery Stafford seems to have it all: a successful career, a handsome fiance, and a lavish wedding on the horizon. But when she returns home to help her father weather a health crisis, a chance encounter leaves her with uncomfortable questions and compels her to take a journey through her family's long-hidden history on a path that will ultimately lead either to devastation or to redemption. So that's the first option. And the second option is Beach Read by Emily Henry. And I have not read any Emily Henry yet. And we're right here at the end of summer. So I think I'm going to read this one. Just maybe a light book after reading a dystopian and a classic. So I'm going to go with Beach Read by Emily Henry. Stay tuned for the next jar prompt. Okay. Prompt number 4. Opposite hand this time. My hands don't want to come out of that jar. I think we just have one. And what does it say? A book by an author you have never read before. Stay tuned. Okay, just to tell you a little bit about what is on my shelves. I have some Colleen Hoover. I've read her. This Joey Jones over here is a North Carolina author. I have not read him, so that is an option. Catherine Center, I have several of hers, but I have read her before. These 2 books are for book clubs that I'm reading next month, so those won't count. These are 3 books by Fannie Flagg. She's one of my favorite authors, so I have read her. Christy Woodson Harvey I've read. These are by Heather Weber. I love her, so I've read her. These are some book of the months, and one of these authors I have read. These other 3 I have not, but these are newer on my TBR, and I'd really rather pick one that is further back on my TBR. I have Lisa Jewell. I've read her. These are some Harry Potter. I'm reading through Harry Potter as an adult, so I have read that author. There's several on this shelf here, which is a lot of historical fiction and mystery. Frida McFadden, I've read her. Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekinen, I've read them. There are some options on here. Taylor Jenkins Reid, I have read. Ruth Ware down on the bottom, I have read. Kristen Harmel, I've read. Stephen King, I've read. So I picked 3, and I'm just gonna go through these 3. I got this one from Book Outlet back in the summer when they were having a sale, The Antique Hunter's Guide to Murder. I love a good murder mystery. It just sounded intriguing. I'm not gonna read the whole description to you because this video is getting to be rather long. And then this was one of my Book of the Month add-ons a few months ago. Frederick Bachman, My Friends. I have not read anything by him. I hear he is very good. This was a new release in 2025. And then the third one, this author, Simone St. James, I have heard was an outstanding author. I have not read anything by her, but I did purchase this one, I think from Pango. I saw someone do a review on it on YouTube and thought it would be interesting. It says, something hasn't been right at the roadside sundown motel for a very long time, and Carly Kirk is about to find out why in this chilling new novel from the best-selling and award-winning author. Upstate New York, 1982, Viv Delaney wants to move to New York City, and to help pay for it, she takes a job as the night clerk at the Sundown Motel in Fell, New York. But something isn't right at the motel, something haunting and scary. Upstate New York, 2017. Carly Kirk has never been able to let go of the story of her Aunt Viv, who mysteriously disappeared from the Sundown before she was born. Carly decides to move to Fell and visit the motel, where she quickly learns that nothing has changed since 1982, and she soon finds herself ensnared in the same mysteries that claimed her aunt. So even though I really do want to read Frederick Bachman, I think I'm going to choose this one. Okay, prompt number 5. I can't remember which hand I used last. I think I used this hand, so I just have one. Let's see what it says. A book with an epilogue. Oh my. All right, let me look. Okay, I didn't want to make this video so long. I found 3. One is a mystery, A Slow Fire Burning, written by Paula Hawkins, who was the author of The Girl on the Train. This says, when a young man is found gruesomely murdered on a London houseboat, it triggers questions about 3 women who knew him. Laura is the troubled one-night stand, last seen in the victim's home. Carla is his grief-stricken aunt, already mourning the recent death of yet another family member. And Miriam is the nosy neighbor, clearly keeping secrets from the police. 3 women with separate connections to the victim. You know, I think I read a chapter of this at the end of last year, trying to determine if I wanted to keep it on my list. So because that all sounds really familiar. So that is an option. I have a couple of Colleen Hoovers. It did have an epilogue, y'all. So just to show you, epilogue in A Slow Fire Burning. Colleen Hoover, Too Late. I was pretty sure most of her books had an epilogue, and epilogue, it did. And The Echo of Old Books, historical fiction. I think it's historical fiction. I'm pretty sure it is. And it has an epilogue. So I already have chosen a classic, a dystopian, a summer beachy read, a mystery. So I think I'm going to not choose another mystery. And between these 2, this is a book that I have had on my TBR, I believe the longest, other than some of the classics. So I think I'm going to choose this one and see if I can finally knock it off my TBR list. So stay tuned. Okay, prompt number 6, and I'm gonna go lefty this time. Dig down to the bottom. Now then it would be a matter of getting my hand out with only one. I have such fat wrist. A paperback book. Well, I have several of those, so stay tuned. Okay, I have lots of paperbacks, so I just grabbed 4. Geneva Rose. This is an author that I have not read. You Shouldn't Have Come Here. I think this is I think it's like a psychological thriller. I'm not really sure, murder or something along those lines. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I have not read this. Now, I have read a book by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and to be honest with you, it was her newest release, Atmosphere, and I DNF'd that. So I'm hoping this one, I hear so many good reviews about this one before I decide to break up with Taylor Jenkins Reid. So I do want to read this one. I also have a couple of Frida McFadden. This one's been on my TBR list for a long time. Someone gifted me this book, and then I have The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. So I think I'm going to do the Frida McFadden and read The Housemaid. Okay, we've got one more. Because I'm going to put 7 on my TBR list. Go to the bottom. Get my hand out of the jar. See if I make sure I only have one. What is it going to be? What is it going to be? Oh my gosh. A book you've been avoiding. Stay tuned. Okay, so if I have to be honest with you, what are books that you avoid? What kind of books do you avoid? I avoid them for the most part because they're so long. So, although I think this is going to be a fascinating read, this Stephen King 11/22/63 is a chunky book. It is 849 pages. So I've been avoiding that one. I have also been avoiding The Rose Code, even though I love Kate Quinn and I've read a couple of her books so far. But once again, it's kind of chunky. It's not as chunky as that. It's not 849 pages, I can tell you that. Oh, we have lots of book club discussion questions at the back. Oh, and it had an epilogue. 621. So I've been avoiding that one. I've been avoiding this one because it's a classic. I could say that about a lot of the classics, but I have a goal to read through the classics. This is East of Eden by John Steinbeck. Steinbeck. It's kind of chunky too. It has 601 pages. And then this one's just been sitting on my shelf and sitting on my shelf and sitting on my shelf. It's a memoir by Valerie Bertinelli. And y'all, I'm gonna read this one. I love Valerie Bertinelli. I don't really care for her politics, but I love her and I love her story. So I think I'm gonna choose this one. So once again, I'm gonna avoid these chunky books. So stay tuned for the wrap up here. Okay, so we're winding down this video. I'm going to recap the books that I'm going to have on my TBR for the month of September. Now, one of them that we did not talk about, I thought I would show it to you, is a Danielle Steele book called Neighbors. And this is the read for a book club that I belong to. That's an annotated book group that I facilitate. And this one got passed to me. So this one definitely is on my September list. I just knew I didn't have to draw a jar prompt for that. So going in reverse order, the prompt was a paperback book, or maybe not going in reverse order, a paperback book. Oh, I know why the Valerie Bertinelli book just fell. The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. The one that we just talked about, the one I've been avoiding, is Enough Already, a memoir by Valerie Bertinelli. The jar prompt for this one was a book with an epilogue. This is a historical fiction by Barbara Davis, The Echo of Old Books. Then the prompt, a book by an author you've never read before. I chose The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. A book with a title that starts with a B. I chose Beach Read by Emily Henry. I think this one was the gold in the lettering. A book with gold lettering on the cover. I chose A Wrinkle in Time. And the very first prompt that I drew was a book that won an award. And I chose To Kill a Mockingbird, which is a classic by Harper Lee. In fact, I think both of these books are banned, and I love to read banned books. Like, why did they get banned? So anyway, that is my September TBR. I'd love for you to drop me a comment and let me know if you have read any of these books, and if you have, what your rating of them was, any comments that you may have about them, or drop me a comment and tell me what's on your TBR list for September. I love to chat with you down in the comments. It helps my algorithms in YouTube. And I'd love for you to share this video. And if you're not subscribed, I'd like for you to subscribe and ring the bell so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. And that's it for me from... Oh, right as I was ending my video, I got a phone call. I am so sorry for the interruption there. That's it from me for tonight from Angie, who is 60 and a senior. Have a great night.